Hello and welcome to another episode of SoFly. It is November 14th, so we got another fresh show for y'all. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. We got myself, Mitch. We've got Yilma.
Hello, everyone.
And Aldo is not joining us today because he is actually upstate right now, fishing steelhead with some peeps. And Idis is there too, and so is D, and a whole bunch of people. But yeah, we got myself and Yilma, and we're recording with two very special people today. We're very excited to be talking with two guests right here from Toronto. We've got Ryan and Jay from Coup, Tête on the show. Coup, Tête is a Canadian bespoke house specializing in fur felt hats and custom leather products. Of course, you know, you guys hooked Aldo and I up with sweet custom hats for our trip to Montana a couple months ago, and that was awesome. And we've got an event coming up with them right here in Toronto on December 16th. You can get tickets to that at sofly.ca/events. You can come out and you can learn how to make your own custom premium leather reel case. And the team over at Coup d'Etat is going to be there to teach you how to do it. Your ticket purchase also gets you a beer, or a bunch of beer, not one beer, but beer from Heineken, Scotch from Glenfiddich, and snacks from Cheese Boutique. And it enters you into a raffle to win a prize from Reddington. Stay tuned for all the prize deets. But yeah, today we're talking to Ryan and Jay about their fly fishing lives because, of course, they are fishy as heck. We're also going to talk about Coup d'Etat's journey and what makes a great fishing hat. I kind of want to hear what you guys have to say about that. Ryan, Jay, welcome to the show.
Hey, man.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming on. So last minute,
pleasure.
I know we hit you up this morning. We're like, hey, you guys want to come on the podcast tonight?
Run and gun, baby.
Run and gun. Much
Run and gun.
appreciate. How's things going over there? Busy?
Yeah. Rye's sewing in a hat right now, and we're just getting the last of the stuff up together here before we head out to Montreal.
Amazing. I love that you guys
Right
are
on.
calling in right from your shop. It looks amazing. Such a good backdrop.
Yeah, a lot of old machines.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beauty. We're really lucky. Like, this is such a cool shop where we went from our last place, which was a Portuguese social club in the basement of Dundas West.
Amazing.
And it was like had the full like tacky bar, everything, and there was a kombucha brewery that was in the space when we first took it over. So it just like smelled like kombucha. We were like, I don't even know how we do this. Yeah, and then we just gutted the entire place, and that was our first spot. And then we slowly expanded, and in February this year we got to take over this space here, which is like right near Roncesvalles on Dundas. And it's used to be a stained glass warehouse and like workshop where they made some of the best stained glass in the city for over 50 years.
That's so cool. That's so
wow.
cool.
This is just a sneak peek, so if you come to our event in December, you'll see,
Yeah.
the
You
full,
get to see
the full bang.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
is a beauty space. Yilma, you got to go check it out. Well, you're going to see it, Yilma.
Well, I'm going to see it on the
Oh, it's not
16th.
going to be a cardboard
Yeah.
cutout?
No cardboard cutouts this time. Actually, I'm not even sure where that went.
Signed on? Man
Well,
himself.
you got to pick out.
Yeah,
You got to pick out
yeah.
your hat.
Yeah,
Oh, baby.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, baby.
100%, yes.
We want to see a registered stud in a Coup d'Etat. We need a...
Yes.
Yeah, we need to get you going, man. We
Yeah,
gotta
you should
follow
talk, man.
I love it.
Oh, come on.
Okay, why don't we just jump into a little bit more about you guys and like how you got into fishing and how you fly fish and all that kind of stuff. Ryan, why don't we start with you and just take us a little bit through, like who you are, what you do, and how you got into fishing. How did it start for you?
I mean, I've been outdoors since I was knee-high to a duck. My parents took us to the creek, hiking, doing everything since we were kids. Frogs, newts, salamanders, snakes, the whole thing.
Yep.
Naturally just went into fishing. Been fishing my whole life. And then, you want more. You
Yeah.
want more romance. You want more
Yeah.
fly fishing.
Yeah.
Hand making most of my stuff. I lived in Whistler for a while, dabbled in fly fishing there, got my first rod, and then moved back here, and then really got into it, made a few rods, tying flies, you guys know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Caught the bug.
Where'd you grow up again, Ryan?
I grew up here.
Right in Toronto, yeah. So you
No,
grew
not
up
downtown. I grew up in Oakville.
Oakville, right on.
So
So like,
my main creek and my
Yeah.
main fishing hub would be Brawny.
okay, sweet.
So I-
Okay, so you kind
Oh,
of grew up there.
I
Yeah,
fished
yeah.
that trip growing up my whole life.
Nice,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Right
Very
on.
nice. Very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Jay,
and Jay's a BC boy.
yeah, Jay,
Yeah,
you're from BC.
so
What's going on?
yeah, I grew up like 8 hours north of Vancouver, out in the middle of nowhere, a town called Quesnel, BC. I grew up on a 200 head buffalo ranch that was like a half an hour north of that.
So
So like I was
Yeah,
like
that's cool.
out there in the middle of nowhere, farm boy. My grandfather was a big fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
All my uncles were, so like every summer was going out camping with the family, especially on my mom's side. And anytime the family went out camping, it was at a lake that was having a fish tournament. So
That's cool.
grew up like sitting on the back of the boats. One of my favorite things, like just like the uncles when they get a little too sauced, one of them would sit on a couple of hooks, and then you'd get to hear him screaming and yelling the whole time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just like one of those things. I grew up around it, and as far as fly fishing, didn't really get into it until later in life. But my sister, she used to fly fish with my grandfather. My grandfather knew better. I was too impatient when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then when I came over here and when Ryan and I started working together, he was spin fishing. Like, we used to go and just like throw spoons over in the East End while we were working like side gigs.
Yeah.
In between.
Shout out Tommy Thompson.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Chuck spoons and just like sit around in between setting up like DJs for weddings.
Yeah.
When we were getting this company up off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So we always enjoyed fishing together. And when Rye really started getting into fly fishing for my birthday that year, he made me my rod. And now it's like the one easy thing that like we can all agree on is like, we got a day off, like let's go hit the river.
You made the rod?
You
for it?
made the rod? What?
I mean,
Sorry.
I didn't.
Holy
I
shit.
didn't, harvest the graphite from Mordor or anything. I got the pieces from Hook and Hackle, and I assembled a fly rod for my boy.
That's pretty good still,
But-
though, man.
but
Like,
yeah.
you
Pretty
built a
cool.
graphite
Yeah.
rod. Like, what a hell of a gift.
I mean, you guys will see when you're here. We make stuff. We do stuff with our hands. That's the mantra over here. So that's why fly fishing goes hand in hand with our lifestyle
Totally.
and our mentality, right?
Yeah. So how did Coup de Tête start? Like, how did you guys, because you guys hooked up just because, how'd you meet?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so Coup de Tête started, do you guys remember that Brazilian bar Touche on College Street?
Mm-hmm.
You almost
It
got
started in the apartment above there. And so for me, I came over here, like I went to theater school after I finished high school, and then came over here with like big dreams of being an actor and started working in the industry and fell out of love with it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then I started in a band and I was touring around all over Canada. And I ended up in between, always my job was like retail.
Mhm.
And I ended up working for Gorham Brothers Hat Company. And when
Right.
Gorham opened up on Queen West, I went in there.
I think I remember this, yeah.
Yeah, the assistant manager was a touring musician. And he was like, yeah, you can take time off to go on tour. And I was like, really? Like, that never happens in this kind of job. I always have to quit, go on tour, find another job.
There you
So
go.
I just like started working at this hat shop, and I fell in love with hats. And as I worked there for a few years, there's so many people coming in asking for specific things, like big wide brim hats or stuff that was made of more quality than what they provided, because a lot of their stuff was wool.
And
Yeah.
he used to take their
Yeah.
stock hats off the wall and change them up. Put
Exactly,
little
yeah.
stitches, put little burns. He used to customize their normal, regular,
Right.
front of the mill hats, and then people would be like, "I
Ooh,
want that hat.
one.
I want
Right.
that
Yeah.
one." And he's like, "Well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I would be like, well, that's just this hat, but I did this and this and this to it. And so people were kind of coming to me for that. And they just kept asking about stuff. And the one thing that Gordon's really great at is like telling the history of hat making,
Right.
and where everything comes from, and really instilling like an appreciation for the craft.
Mhm.
And I just became obsessed. And it was something where like, as soon as I started working with my hands again, and like I made my first blocks, like I went to Curry's and got like styrofoam and carved my own blocks and resin cast them, and just was like, okay, I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna try. And so like started doing that until I got my first hat blocks, and I just started trading with people that I liked their stuff as makers, and that's what kind of got us into the maker community here.
Mhm.
And so in my bedroom on College Street, I had this tiny bedroom. I used to have to flip up my bed to set down the workbench, and I would go to Kensington Market, buy up as many hats as I possibly could,
Mhm.
rip the guts out of them, reshape them, kind of do my thing, learn slowly but surely.
Mhm.
And so that kind of grew, and then I moved in with my girlfriend, and her roommate was moving out. I moved in with her, and so we turned the extra bedroom into a workshop.
Right.
And around that time, my bandmate had a new boyfriend, enter this fella.
Dun dun dun.
There we go.
And Rye was a somm and working in the restaurant industry, had been for years, and was just kind of really disenchanted with the whole thing, and he liked that I was working with my hands, and we just like hit it off right away. And so Rye started working in the shop with me, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna help you start your leather business because you can tell a bit how you got your interest in leather."
Yeah, basically my idea was just to dip out of the restaurant business and start a small handmade leather company. I don't know, bags, belts, that sort of thing. My uncle did that as a hobby, kind of in the biker community.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he handed me down my first tools, and I made a couple belts and had some fun, got creative with it, and was like, this is great. So basically we just worked back to back in a 10 by 6 room.
Fit like 2 tables, then us standing there, and a
Back to back.
foot in
Just
between
start
us.
off-
Like, yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I'd peek over my shoulder every so often, and he'd be making the leather for the inside of a hat, and I'd be like, oh, well, maybe we can do this. And then he was like, oh, fuck, dude, try this.
Yeah.
And then, we just decided yin yang,
Yeah. Put them together and start
Yeah.
something up. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Just
It
fit.
takes the right person and a really special relationship to be able to, be in business with someone and create with someone and all
Eat
the
rice
layers.
for 3 years
Yeah,
while you get it up off the ground.
Eat rice and vegetables and sesame oil.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
But shout out to our third, because we have one more person involved in our whole operation here. Her name's Tina. It's Jay's sister. She's basically the reason why we're alive and not in jail.
Still eating rice. Yeah. Yeah, it was like
By
once
choice.
The business,
Yeah.
once the business started like getting out there and people started knowing who we were and orders started coming in, we were like, okay, we're really good at making stuff, but we don't know how to run a business. And so like we called my sister and we're like, so we're getting you a plane ticket, you got to come back to Toronto. She's like,
Yeah.
and it was like kind of perfect timing.
Yeah.
Getting out of a relationship. We're like, great. I'm really sorry for you, but that's great because we're going to Toronto because you need to run this business because we can't do it.
Congratulations.
That's
Right,
awesome.
so yeah, she is like the backbone of this business and like keeps it running, keeps it organized, and like has allowed us to grow. And also, she's like just like an incredible maker as well in her own right.
Yeah.
It's just
She got a good
so
cast,
it's-
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Good cast, too.
Yeah, well, she learned from my grandpa. Like I said, I was too impatient as a little one, but she had all the patience for grandpa in the world.
Yeah.
And the fishing up in like northern BC is just amazing. Like we have
I
Dragon
caught
Lake right
my
there.
PB rainbow.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah,
old,
Dragon
big old
Lake,
sucker.
BC.
Like at least
Up north, yeah.
22 inches. Lake.
Easy.
Oh my
Lake-
god.
Yeah,
I think you
Lake-
showed me the
huge
picture of
rainbow.
that one. Yeah, that was a nice fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of just tiny black leech.
Unreal.
Yep.
Unreal. Well, before we get into the fishing and kind of the crossover between like, your lives as makers and anglers, like is the hat community like pretty tight knit in Toronto? Like kind of like anything else? Is it sort of
It's like
Or-
a group of stray cats, Hat people are very interesting and eclectic.
Yeah.
And once you like spot someone who's like a hat guy or a hat person, it's kind of like they got their thing and you got your thing, but you kind of
Right.
bond over hats.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. And then the community of makers, we're all super close,
Makers,
which
for
is
sure.
like
Right.
really awesome. So, like shout out Karen at Lilliput Hat. She sold me my first hat blocks as I was
Right.
trying to figure out stuff, and she's like the genius that made all of Gord Downey's hats.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so we call her Hat Mama. Also, like David Dunkley was one of the first stores to put our hats in his store. Like
Yeah.
everybody just kind of helped us out because we were just like these young bucks just being like, yeah, we're doing crazy hats and lighting things on fire and going nuts.
Yeah.
We're just gonna try this. And then all the other hat makers in the community were just like, this is awesome. We want to help you.
Right. Because it kind of builds
Really
everyone up. Yeah.
Because
That's cool.
outside of the like Toronto community, like you get a lot of doors shut in your face. It's very much like they all try and guard.
It's
their
like it's like
secrets.
fishing spots.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I could see that. That's cool. The Gord Downey hats were wicked.
Yeah.
That was-
And also, like the woodworkers, the tailors, the vintage guys, like a
100%.
whole community. We've had,
yeah.
many different people help us build things, make things, learn new things.
Yeah.
Just it all
Everybody's kind of all
folds
part of the
itself
same.
into
Yeah.
fabric, exactly.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. That's cool. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about fishing up north of BC because I know we were there last time. We were talking about that, Jay, and it sounded friggin' amazing. Ryan, you were saying you got your personal best
Yep, Dragon
rainbow
Lake.
out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interior BC.
Dragon Lake is like a destination fishing spot.
Tough place to get to,
in our
right?
town.
Yeah.
And it's also, I was telling you guys about last time, there is invasive goldfish in there
Yes.
that are
Yeah.
as big as your fist. Like, no
Some
joke.
balls.
Like, it is wild. Look it up. It's like the goldfish there, and it's, I believe, because of like residential being around there, like people flushing their
Yeah.
goldfish down, but then them thriving in this environment to the point where they are like invasive and a problem. So you go up there and you go gold fishing. Like,
Yeah,
that's
people
such a
fish
weird thing.
people fish
Oh, so
gold
weird.
spoons,
Yeah,
gold and orange flash spoons for trout for rainbows. They're eating small.
Because that's what they eat.
yeah,
So we need like goldfish flies when we go.
100%.
yeah, yeah.
Gold
Oh,
streams.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, yeah. Fuck.
That's wild. What a weird
That's a new
thing.
one.
It's pretty,
But
I
pretty
know.
cool, man.
the trout fishing's
Like,
good though.
They're fed fish. Like they're
Yeah.
thick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Like
yeah.
the bows are good too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Big bow.
Yeah.
So is that kind of like lake kind of where you grew up fishing, Jay, or is that sort of when you explored
Yeah,
later on?
I mean, it was kind of like I said, it was all around. It just depended on like what weekend the family was going to
Right.
and where the fishing derby was.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
uncles were like, well,
McLeese Lake.
yeah, McLeish Lake. We've done a bunch.
They're all interior BC lakes, very similar, deep
Yeah.
from the mountains. You know, some people will troll. There's kokanee.
Right.
There's
Right.
rainbows.
Yeah,
know,
just
that-
like pretty
all
much
that
anything
similar
off
style.
Highway 97 up in that northern BC area.
Just
like,
full of fish
was-
everywhere.
Caribou
Yeah.
region.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like the fishing in the caribou is just unbelievable up there, and the water's just beautiful. So
What a crazy place to grow up, man! Like that's like
I know.
a huge.
So
You said
nice.
bison farm, basically.
yeah, we ran 200 head of bison. Yeah, it was wild.
That's so wild.
Really fortunate to like grow up. Like my dad was working in tech in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And my mom worked for the telephone company back when you used to have to unplug and
Right.
and connect.
Switchboard,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And
Whoa.
they had, I was born in San Francisco, so was my sister. And
Yeah.
when I was 3, they decided like we don't want to raise the kids in the city.
Yeah.
So they went over, and my dad took over his father's farm. And so like the farm I grew up with was straight up wilderness that him and a business partner from New Zealand had bought years prior, and
Yeah.
my grandfather cleared every field that we like did all our haying off of everything and like built the farm that we then took over. And when my dad took it over, he decided that it was predominantly like a cattle and a sheep ranch, and then
Yeah.
we got into the buffalo business, and that was my upbringing.
What a hell of a
Interesting.
business to be in, though, isn't it? Like, got to be pretty challenging.
Oh yeah, there were like you see like cattle and stuff like when they get herded around and stuff like that. Like they're pretty like slow lumbering beasts. Like buffalo is a truly wild animal. Like the bulls, like full size bull, 6 feet tall at the
Oh,
hump.
yeah.
They weigh like a ton. They're insane and
Like not
the-
domesticated at
they
all.
are not domesticated at all. They're fully wild. We in areas where we were fencing off stuff, you would have a 10-foot tall wire fence.
Yeah.
A buffalo would run at that full speed, knock itself out, get back up, and run it again until it broke. Like there was nothing to stop these things.
Jeez.
Wild.
Good
Wild.
lord.
Yeah,
it's
my
crazy.
grandfather had a buffalo on his farm, but we called them because it was in Trinidad. We called them
Yeah.
Buffalipso. The name is Buffalipso.
Whoa.
Way
That's
better.
Whoa,
Yeah.
you're gonna
It's so
use
funny.
that
Yeah.
off of Lipso.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Buffalipso.
That's big, dude.
Just
It's like
a little
Buffalo
twist.
and Calypso. I don't know. They
Yeah,
combined it. I have no idea.
And also, speaking of, I guess, fly fishing out in BC, we just got back from our best bud's wedding on the island. We did a camping trip in Port Renfrew.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did a little canoe trip. Well,
But not a little
not a little one. It
Oh,
was,
yeah.
It was supposed to be a couple guys, 2 canoes, 6 guys fly fishing. It was an 8-hour sore ass canoe trip all the way down into the mouth of the ocean, basically.
It was
Jeez.
incredible.
It was awesome.
sounds wicked.
Lots of down trees, lots
Yeah,
of laughs,
portaging.
lots of fun, super clear water, no cuddies.
Right. No cutties.
Once we started getting into the brackish water,
Yeah.
I caught 2 little pencils, tiny
Yeah.
little guys, but
Mhm.
other
So
than
tough
that,
fishing.
it was tough fishing that time of year.
No, but Ryan knew what's up, and he got a hold of a guide in the area, and it was like once we were back, just before we left, he was like, "I'm leaving at 5 a.m. I'm going up here." I was like, "I'm
Yeah,
too
well-
hungover from after this wedding. I'm nowhere, sir." And Ryan was like, "No, I'm catching something." And so he went up to like, what did the guy tell you? Like in between this rail bridge and this rail bridge.
Cowichan River,
Yeah.
in between the trellis bridges.
Oh, sick.
Yeah,
There
I
you
had
go.
a great time. Caught my PB brown in the West Coast, big old
Yeah.
log It was
Right
great.
on.
on a muddler with like a big kind of, not a normal muddler. It was actually a gift from your friend's father.
Yeah.
who-
Yeah.
He tied us a welcome to BC box.
Oh, sick. That's
He
an
left
awesome.
it for us
Okay.
in Vancouver, and
Wow.
it's a beautiful fly, and it doesn't look like any muddler I've ever fished. It's got
What's different about
head
it?
on
Yeah.
it. The head on it is just very, I guess, large, and a lot of like the deer hairs cut and like very sculpted.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Really nice. I mean,
That's
a lot
cool.
of
That's a big
surface
one.
tension. And I wasn't expecting it. It was like my second cast of the day, and a brown just came right from basically under the bank.
Oh,
Wow,
that's
your
so
personal
sweet.
best West
Fast.
Coast brown.
Yep, fast,
Wow,
like
nice.
kind of schistous water, like
Yeah,
that
Fucking sea run
aqua.
brown, man. Jesus.
Yeah, it was wicked.
That's so
Wow.
cool, man.
Yeah,
Ryan,
You
who
know,
was
you
steering your canoe?
Actually, the person who needed to be steering my canoe was steering my canoe. I was in the middle, holding
Okay,
on
okay.
for dear life, complaining that my body was in physical pain.
Oh shit.
I was in the other canoe, which was like first timer as like who was steering the canoe, but I had enough beers on hand that I was fine the whole time.
Yeah.
We were going
That's
for
okay.
it.
Ryan and I were in a canoe. We were both steering, so it's fine.
Spot and stuff.
That was out in Paris on the Grand River, right?
yeah.
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 Another cool part about that trip, shout out Marc Lavoie. One of his big things, he's like, for my wedding boys, I just want to have a completely foraged meal.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So our whole
that's-
idea
that's
was
awesome.
to go out to the West Coast. We went on we got our little title licenses. We got
Yeah.
sea barnacles, mussels. We got
Yeah, so we
what else
started
did
off. You start on the beginning of the Juan de Fuca Trail.
Okay.
So we start on the actual start of that, which is like a massive hike on the island. So we walked down, and we walked down into the certain part of the beach because you have to get way out where the tide's proper for it.
Yeah.
So like Mark had this timed, and then we come out into a specific beach that he had picked where like we were all of our stuff it was legal to go and harvest.
and there was no red tide.
Yes, and there was no red
Right,
tide, so
that's
we were kind of like trying to get away from that. So we had quite a hike to get down there.
Yeah.
So we hiked out there, got in just at low tide, and walked out on these cliffs.
Yeah.
And you're like climbing down cliffs. We're going into holes and like picking out sea urchins.
Yeah,
Wow.
urchins.
Goose barnacles, mussels. There was a whole field of
We were trying to
sea
catch salmon.
asparagus.
Yeah, sea
Wow.
asparagus.
Yeah,
We were trying to catch fish, but where we were, the casting was way too hard. There was just
Yeah.
forests of kelp coming from the shore, and
Sounds like a lot of good
sometimes-
stuff otherwise, though.
No, fire roasted mussels and
Oh,
yeah. So we brought that back, huge campfire, and then as the storm was like just
Okay.
coming in, Mark and I ripped out on his canoe into the bay and pulled up our crab trap and had like 2 nice sized dungees in there. So we
nice.
were like, okay, we've got like the full thing. So we had like fresh uni. I was sitting there with an axe, like chopping sea urchins in half, fresh uni on bread, and then we did like everything on open fire cooked out there, and it was like a fully foraged meal. It was unbelievable.
Wow,
Oh,
that
that's
sounds like a
amazing.
hell of a trip, man. That's a great, like foraged, but I mean, it's almost just like at
So-
the bounty of the sea. You know,
Yes,
like
absolutely.
it's so much good stuff.
honestly,
forage-
that's exactly
Yeah.
Do you see foraged kelp?
sea asparagus.
How'd that taste? I don't think I've ever had that.
Fresh,
Sounds delicious.
almost like
Yeah.
crunchy.
Yeah.
It almost like sprouts, almost
Yeah,
like
kinda like sprouts,
big
yeah.
pea shoots. Like
They're very
almost that
thin.
kind of
They're
vibe.
very thin, and
Right.
they're very green. And we just like
Okay.
lightly pickled them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So it was just like
to
a fresh
pull
little
bit of the
salad.
salt off it. Yeah, so we just our
Nice.
buddy had brought up. He had a thing of pickled onions, so we just poured the brine in on the sea asparagus
Yeah.
and just gave it a light pickle, and it was so good and so fresh, unbelievable.
How many days were you guys out there for?
Maybe 13 or 14.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good-
Plus
good.
a wedding after the bachelor party, the whole thing.
Yeah,
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 The
yeah.
bachelor party we did 3 days. So
right
it
on.
was 3 or 4 days that we were out in Port Renfrew and like staying right on the ocean,
Yeah,
like in the bay. It was
Attawapscat or something like
Attawapscat.
that. Yeah.
yeah.
Wait, is it Attawapscat?
No, that's a river in Ontario.
No.
I know, but it sounded the same.
That
So
you've
I,
been on.
am
Very,
like,
very similar. Very similar to that.
it sounded exactly the same.
That's a hell of a wedding. That sounds like an awesome wedding, man. Like 4 days
Yeah.
of food, fishing
Yeah.
on the river. Dang, sweet.
The couple we went to celebrate are chef's kiss.
Primo. Yeah,
Yeah.
Very good
I love
people.
it.
Yeah.
Ryan, when it comes to like working with your hands and like whether it's building rods or time flies or making hats or whatever, like
Yeah.
what about it gets you like? Why do you love it so much? Why
Pure
do you love working with
craftsmanship, attention to detail,
your hands?
getting better, and just doing your best, making something as good as you can, as well as you can.
Is it also like kind of just like the like making something like
Yeah.
I feel like for me if like I love the allure of it, I'm not a craftsman at all. I'm not a craftsperson.
Sense of accomplishment when you
Yeah.
finish something front to back is pretty profound, right?
Yeah, and you actually have something tangible you can
Yeah,
look at.
you're not handing a part down the line in the Ford plant and then handing
Yeah.
it again and handing it again. You're taking a piece of leather, you're spreading it out on a table, you're cutting it,
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
dyeing it, turning it a new color, you're polishing it, you're putting holes in it, you're shaping it. The steps that go into it, and once you see it at the end, it's a very nice. It's like
Feeling.
catching a fish after 6 hours on the water when everyone else is gone and you're just soaked.
Yeah, and
Right?
you just like don't give up. on
Very
it, right?
similar, yeah.
Yeah,
Just keep hitting the fence. You're gonna fucking.
You're gonna get
you're gonna
something
get
cool.
through there, right?
Do you remember your first hat?
Yep.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
like how? What
Well,
was that process?
me and Jay, we had this thing where I was doing my leather business, and I was kind of like, I kind of knew the hat thing. Like, I had this like gut feeling that we were gonna do hats together. I think
Yeah.
maybe before Jay. Jay was like, "You're not a hat guy. Keep doing the leather." And I was like, "Yep, you're right, but
Yeah.
you're wrong." And
Yeah.
I think that this is gonna happen. So he was like, "Okay, well, go to Kensington. Go get a felt.
Yeah.
Go,
Don't pay any more than this.
yeah."
Bring
Right.
it back here.
Yeah.
I'll show you what to do with it.
Yeah.
Your first hat.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
when we were young, like we were doing fashion shows a bunch for Tom for Toronto Men's
Yeah.
Fashion Week.
Okay. Yeah.
Like hats, like when a designer can come, show their runway, but also add accessories like leather goods and hats.
Right.
It's great for them, right? So Jay started when he was first starting doing hats, and then we kind of just met designers and new people, and we did a bunch of runways. I don't know, maybe 6, 7. We've done New York Fashion Week. We've done a bunch. So
Wow. Sick.
that
Nice.
hat,
amazing.
my first hat, we did a crazy technique. It was kind of like a very light colored hat, almost something like this.
Okay. Yeah.
And
The
then
light gray.
we dyed the bottom like kind of like a green goblin green up to about here, and then we laid like a mesh over top of the bottom and then sprayed a darker green over it, so it was like this crazy texture, and then it ended up
Scales.
getting to the runway, and it was a super popular piece. So
Wow. That's
Cool.
cool.
Okay,
That's
so
crazy.
I have a question though, because I mean I'm not going to look the same as how Mitch will look in a hat or Aldo. So so when you're designing the hat for a specific person, do you would you have that
talk to,
in mind?
talk to the Batman himself right here.
Okay,
That's-
because
Yeah.
like the dad hat looks good on me, but dad hat won't look good on Mitch. So
Right. How do you custom? How
do you
like, look
customize?
at someone to say this
Yeah.
is the thing? I guess
For
it's
me,
artistic. but-
Like how it started is when I was working at that hat shop at Gorin.
Yeah.
You'd always like a customer would come in and they'd be like, "Oh, they're here for a hat. I'm not a hat person. Hats don't look good at me." And I was like, "That's my customer."
Yeah.
right on.
Person
It's
that-
really what it comes down to is it comes down to face shape, finding right proportions, and like balancing all the different things. It's just like you look at the hats that we've made for like Mitchie and Aldo.
Yeah.
Mitchie's hat looks like his hat, right? Aldo's
Mhm.
looks like his hat. Like those
Yeah.
are the things, and it's also like that's a reason why I wanted to start a custom business and like do custom is because I think that like hats are an incredibly personal thing, and it's a like kind of rare kind of fashion statement that men have. I feel like there's a lot more options available for women to accessorize. Men have less,
Mhm.
and a hat is like the ultimate expression of that.
Mhm.
And because of that, it's also, you need to kind of take into consideration that somebody's silhouette changes dramatically when they wear like a wide brim hat. All of a sudden, like there's something that's competing with your shoulder width, so you see yourself very differently. So it's like, it's a different thing. You carry yourself differently when you're wearing a hat and those kind of things. So
Hell yeah.
it's about, one, finding that right shape and that right vibe for you, but it's also about creating something together. And that's what I love doing, is collaborating with people and like being inspired by somebody and making something specifically for somebody with somebody.
Right. Yeah. I'd say like hats are, I mean, like, you know, we kind of talked about a little bit about this earlier, but like hats are definitely like a fishing staple, you know, like the fishing hat is a thing, and it's usually like something that people just kind of over time realize. It's like, this is this is my hat. Like I've worn this hat that if you're watching, you can see this on YouTube, to like every fishing trip over the last 5 years, and it's kind of just like burned, you know, memories into it. I don't know, but what do you think makes what makes a great fishing hat? Because you guys obviously make the most ultimate fishing hats, and, you know, not just functionally, but like what makes a fishing hat epic?
That's a large question, Mitch.
That's
It's a spicy question.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
you know.
just one that can take it is the like
beginning.
number one for me is like, we make a hat that if it got swept down the river, even if you didn't find it that day and you went back next season and it was on the creek line somewhere, it'd still be in great shape.
Yeah, you'd see it in a drift ad, someone's net, just like, I'm cleaning up the river, boy.
Yeah, to take this net and stuff a contest. I love it.
But it's
So functionally, they're sturdy hats. Like
Yeah.
they can really take a beat.
It's about being sturdy.
Yeah.
It is about like waterproofness, because we are stubborn fishermen that will stay out when it's raining, and we're seeing this through.
Yep.
Um,
Stick a bunch of flies in it, dry them off.
yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Forget those patches that are like all right on those, you know.
Yeah.
Stick
Just
them
use
right
the
on,
hat.
no problem.
And it's just about like function, like
Sun protection.
Yeah, sun protection is great, but it's also about function. Like Rye likes his wide brim when we're out fishing. I wear like felt ball cap style, and that's
those are cool.
That's my fishing hat, and
Yeah.
it's because with the way I cast, I'm like pretty
Right.
straight up with my casting. So if I had a big wide brim, I think it would alter my cast a bit, and
Yeah.
it wouldn't quite be my thing. But it's all like, and Rye loves his side casting, so it's like, it doesn't matter for him. He could wear just like a monster out there because he's got that.
I'm a sidearm sniper.
Yeah.
Sidearm sniper. I love it.
Always just
Cutting the wind there.
No,
Right?
I feel you. I'm the same, man.
always. Yeah. I grew up.
I mean, it's
lacrosse, so
boom.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
that'll
natural feeling of me, you know, two-handing or one-handing something in a certain direction is
Got it. That
pretty
makes sense.
natural.
do it. Yeah, it makes sense. I love it. Yeah, and I mean, if you're gonna, I think this is just good advice for everybody listening. Like, if you're gonna get a fishing hat, you want it to stand up for a while, so you can put some memories into it, right? So,
100%.
the hats you guys make, like they'll last forever, right? You
Yeah.
know, like they'll never really.
Yeah, all our
Oh.
hats come with a lifetime guarantee. Like when
Nice.
when you get a hat from us, like one of our customs, it comes with a lifetime guarantee, because they're all kind of based off of like my grandfather, who is like a fly fisherman. It's based off of his hat. He wore it every day.
Yeah.
Didn't fit him right. Which
No?
I think about. Oh no, he was this big dude, like huge man, big barrel chested guy, and he wore these like rainbow suspenders all day.
Oh, sick.
And he wore this like whiskey colored cowboy hat that sat like up on the top of his head, like was just too small, but like that was his hat, and he wore it every day while he was alive. That I have in my memory, it was always on his head.
Yeah.
And then when he passed a few years later, my mom was like, I found your grandfather's hat, do you want it? I was like, yeah, of course. And I took it and I dyed it and I reblocked it, and now it's my sister's hat. So like it's
Wow, that's cool.
the next generation, like his grandchildren are wearing his hat now. And so everything that we make is based off of that principle and that idea of making something that is going to be of like you're going to be able to pass it down, and like,
you can reshape it, you can remold
oh
it.
yeah, absolutely. And it's
heritage quality.
yeah, and there's a lot of people that they're like, you know, they feel that certain rods, you're like, there's a lot of fish on this rod. Like you can feel the energy of a good rod that's caught a lot of fish, especially those like old vintage bamboo rods and stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
And there's so many stories that are tied to a rod. I feel like something like that very much equates to like a hat that's been through like great adventures and have been different places
100%.
with you. Like you look
Stoking
at
a fire,
Rise,
stoking a fire.
yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
everything. Cutting the
Yeah.
wind.
they change color
until you
over
integrate
time.
until
It's
you
wild.
integrate a wide brim hat into your day to day or just your outdoor life, you're
Mhm.
really gonna understand it. They don't, they do a lot.
Yeah.
That's pretty
yeah.
cool.
There's something so cool about just like a thing that holds memories, and like having that thing. Like I really hope that the hat, which I have right here, and I wear it all the time, by the way. It's not on my wall. I just have it so people can see it. But
Excuse me.
I just like love the idea of one day maybe that'll be full of memories and someone in my family will get it. Like it's just such a cool
How many of us-
heirloomy.
Like
I
how
love it.
many of us grab something from our grand folk or
Yeah.
someone else, and then we're like, "This is the coolest thing." Whether it's
Yeah.
an old musky plug or
Yeah.
whatever it is from the cottage, you just grab it.
Totally.
And you're just like, "This relic is the
Yeah.
stickiest thing." Right?
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
don't make stuff like that anymore.
I'm always at Aberfoyle. Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no! I have like a pair of like single leg waders, just like
Yeah, those are
and
sick.
they were my uncle's
those are
and
cool.
my
Yeah.
and then like they've been in my family for so many years. Like
Yeah.
not the most ideal thing, but
No.
I'll never get rid of them.
You see, we
Yeah.
gotta
No.
find ways
Yeah.
through the river sometimes
Yeah.
because he can only get through at some points.
Oh yeah,
and he's
before I
hiking
got
them
my
up
waders.
to his thigh highs.
Pulling 'em.
Yeah.
Just
Pulling
like,
'em
well,
right
a little deep here, boys. I'm going up a
Yeah.
little bit farther up the river.
Yeah.
But like, I still use them
Yeah.
on occasion. It's just because they have that history and they have
Yeah.
that, and it's just
Yeah.
like it's one of the things with like all this new gear that comes out every year and
Yeah,
all these different things, and you can really get wrapped up in that,
Totally.
or
Yeah, we're
you can
Kijiji
really,
Kings.
Yeah, we want to
We're
get something
looking
that's
for an old-
had, yeah.
I've
an
got some
old-timer
salmon
stuff.
reels from an old timer who lived on the West Coast for 30 years. He said he got hundreds of fish on these things.
Yeah.
They're old, like I think they say Argentina on them.
Oh wow.
They've got a little brass salmon on them. He gave me 3 of them for $50, and I fished them for like 2 years.
That's
absolutely.
wicked.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, really, come on, what does it do?
Yeah.
That's the best.
What's
way
the
to
reel
do it.
really doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come
I'm
on.
with you.
Yeah.
I'm totally with you. I love just like the stuff, the stories and the history in those objects, and then you use them to fish or whatever, and it's just like a cool, fun thing.
Well, and it's kind of like what I'm really excited about for this night that we're all going to have together, because leather is very much that as well. And in particular, vegetable tan leather, like the real case that we're basing it off of is just like, it's a case that I really wanted, and after I got my rod, and I've got a vintage reel on it, and I was like, I've got to make like a case for it, and so I kind of looked at it and really designed it around so that you can have your sock on it, throw it around there, and it's just going to be there. We actually have it lined with beaver felt inside.
Trimmings from the hats.
Yeah, so it's actually like a
Sweet.
bit of our hats are in every one,
That's
so
cool.
that any water and stuff, it isn't going to soak into the leather. It's actually just going to be penetrated by it. It'll just be bounced off by the beaver.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And so with that, I mean, when it first started, it was like this like super bright, pale kind of like piece. Now it's like caramel colors,
Yeah.
and it's
Right.
been through so much. And the more you use it, the more supple it becomes, and the darker it gets. It actually
Just on
tans
the
over time.
leather side of things, people don't realize we use a natural leather that's basically just vegetable tanned cowhide. It has no treatment with chemicals, and people don't realize it's actually like skin. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it starts. I can show you an example. It starts off as, I guess this is like our mouse pad for the last couple of years is a pretty
Right.
funny
Yeah.
example where up on the top is kind of untouched, and then this is where
Yeah.
all the oils of our wrists and the mouse
Yeah,
is
yeah,
gone
yeah.
over it. And then even even as you go outside, the sun physically tans the leather.
Right, and it starts to kind of age it.
Yeah.
It starts to add character,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
And we
So,
use the
yeah.
same kind of leather in our sweatpants on our hats, and with the nice thing about like vegetable tan leather is it doesn't close off any of the pores on the surface. So over time, your sweat, the oils from your skin, all of this stuff actually makes it more supple over time instead of breaking it down.
Right.
It's really incredible. Like our original hats from like the main supplier that we get our pieces from in Tennessee, those pieces, we haven't changed a thing on it, and we wore them like daily for 4 years straight, and like completely.
And that's farm. That's
yeah.
farm use.
Yeah, farm work, and,
Wow.
like, fishing trips,
Heavy
out
work,
in
heavy
weather,
use,
every. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these reel cases are pretty sweet, and we are going to have a really great time. And I think that
Yeah, I'm more interested
yeah,
in
if
the
you're
hats.
listening, come on down.
Sorry.
The reel cases, they're going to be sick.
Sorry.
They're gonna be
No, they're gonna
awesome.
be-
I've seen them.
The real,
They
they're-
already
I've
said
handled
you're
it.
getting a hat.
Oh, come and get a hat too,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah, for sure. Hold on.
You guys will have hats at the shop when we're doing
Oh,
the
yeah,
event,
for
right?
sure.
That we can look at. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
and but
it's
it's
gonna
gonna
be
be awesome because we are taking a lot of the principles of what we do in the hat
Focus.
making process, but you're
Yeah.
going to also be learning a really cool
Life
skill
skill too.
of saddle
Yeah.
stitching, and
Yeah.
I think it's such a fundamental thing to making your own pieces and stuff out of leather.
Even just coming
Yeah.
away from
Yeah.
this, learning this stitch as a normal human who might not do this normally, you know.
And an
can-
outdoors
Totally.
guy,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's so important.
You can
to know
side
this
stitch
stitch.
a rip in a canvas tent.
Yeah.
You know, an outdoor jacket.
Yeah,
all
your
that- all that
jacket,
sort of
It's a
any
good
of those
skill.
kind of things. It's
Yeah.
just like such a nice thing to have in your pocket, and it also allows because we're gonna show the kind of like the breakdown and stuff of the reel case and how to kind of like think of putting it together. Where you said you really like the ideas, Mitch, but you're not like a maker kind of guy. Once you have the skills that we're gonna kind of like talk through in this,
Yeah.
then it makes it that much easier. Like you can buy a pattern, and nowadays they have like so much of this stuff at Etsy and stuff where it's
Yeah.
like you can order and a bunch of pieces of leather come, and you can just saddle stitch it up. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
something you could do over a weekend. You can kind of like make something.
Yeah.
Make something,
And
yeah.
with with like a few very like simple skills.
All the people who tie flies, you know, there's a lot of transferable skills. Like you have to be fairly skilled.
Yeah.
To tie a decent fly.
Yeah.
In my
Yeah.
opinion. Even
Oh,
the
yeah.
other night, I almost glued my two fingers together.
Yeah.
I never used super glue before, and then I went to that event. We're at Affinity Fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talking to some buds there, and then I didn't get a spot. I showed up fashionably late, like always. So I got put in the corner with Mitchie.
Yeah.
Who's that nice guy we were talking to? The guide.
Yeah,
He was up in
Sean.
Caledon.
Sean, I
With the
think.
long hair.
Oh, up in Caledon.
Jesse?
Caledon.
Jason.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. The guy.
That guy. So
yeah.
he was tying
How
some
would I
wicked
remember
flies with the mob, and
Yeah.
then I was just like, okay, I'm gonna take a couple of these pieces for later. So a couple weeks go by, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get to those, and then I
Yeah.
go at it, and then I'm watching a video, and they're like, yeah, just put some super glue in it, and then pinch it with your fingers, and then 3 seconds later, I'm like, oh shit, my fingers were fucking stuck together.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
No, but
Yeah,
that, you
shout
make
out
a good
to
point.
Jordan Pocket. Jordan Pocket was the, yeah.
Jordan, we ended up just watching the Leafs game that night. He's a big Leafs
Yeah,
fan. He's
standing
I
outside.
want to get out on the river with him.
Oh, it was Jordan.
Oh,
I
he's a hell
know.
of an angler. He's a-
Of course, you're
Jordan,
getting
yeah,
along with
he's
Jordan, man. Of course,
Of
you're getting along with
course,
Jordan.
Jordan.
He's the man.
Jordan's a
Fucking
bomb.
love him.
He goes.
It's so fishy.
He's like, yeah, in January, you know, I tied about 4,000 flies for the year, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Do you watch
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings extended version? I'm like, That's awesome, dude.
He's one of the best guides down here in Southern Ontario,
He's
He
man.
really
amazing.
is,
He's,
and he's fun.
really
Tell you,
good.
he just loves it too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But that's who you want to be on the water with.
Yeah. Exactly.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't need any cool guides.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, well, why don't we do Mitch's Fishies 5, which is like 5 questions we ask every guest at the end of each show. So we'll ask you guys now, and yeah, they're just kind of more generic, general, broad fishing questions. But Jay, we'll start with you with this first one. What is your favorite fish and why? If you had to pick a favorite fish, what would it be?
It's got to be rainbows.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, it's what I grew up. The first fish I caught was rainbow out of my uncle's boat. It's just was always the thing that we were chasing, and it's like the first time I learned how to clean a fish was a rainbow. All of those
Yeah.
things, and I remember when I was little being at the weigh-in at those like fishing derbies and just seeing these monsters come in and be like, what is all of this? But I was standing there with my rainbow, and I was like, this is all I need. And
Yeah.
and I've loved it ever since. Yeah.
I'm with you, man. Rainbows are the bomb. Ryan, how about you? Favorite fish and why?
Really tough question. I'm gonna go with brook trout.
Oh,
Beautiful,
right
nice.
on.
Native to Ontario. Beautiful fish.
Yep.
You got any problems? Come see me. What are you gonna say about Brooke? Come on,
Yeah, period. The
They're
end. I
wicked.
love it.
They're wicked. Shout out to
Yeah.
Bass though.
Shout out to Bass.
Shout
Bass
out
gets a
to
special
Bass.
mention. Yeah,
Dependable, beautiful fish.
Yeah.
honorable mention to
Yeah,
the
honorable
Bass
mention.
for
That's
sure.
correct.
I love it, man. Brickies. Yeah, no
Right,
need to
come on.
explain.
Ryan,
that.
you're
I think
definitely an
everybody
Ontario
listening-
guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Those are the those answers very much say like where you're from
100%,
for
man.
sure.
Should I went for like oversized goldfish and like
You know my favorite fish? Oversized
You're
goldfish.
Quinella.
Yeah,
invasive oversized goldfish?
I love it. That would be pretty awesome. That would definitely be the first time we've ever heard that.
Yeah.
But no, rainbows at well. Rookies, 100%.
Yeah, Mitch's favorite.
Okay, number 2, Ryan. We'll start with you first this time. If you could fish anywhere in the world right now, assuming it's like the best time of year to go there,
Ooh, damn.
where'd you go?
Good
I
question.
actually forgot these questions.
The fishing will be the best it's ever
Yeah,
been in this
from
place.
Tip top to top.
Where?
I don't know, dude. I'm gonna. You know
It's
what?
tough, man.
I'm gonna put myself out of my comfort zone, and I'm going Dorado.
Nice.
I'm
Go
going
Dorado.
golden. I'm going on a trip in the Amazon, wherever the hell we're
I
gonna
feel
be,
ya.
and it's gonna be
Yeah.
so out of my mind. Like, what is happening? Am I in space? And then
Yeah.
you look into a golden Dorado, and you're just like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how?
That'd be a
crazy would
showstopper.
that be?
That would be a
Oh, man,
showstopper.
that'd be
I
a
feel like you'd be
showstopper.
writing a journal daily. You'd be like, I've been on a canoe for 3 days.
Totally.
I don't know where we're going.
Yeah.
I'm eating local delicacies. You know, I'm surviving. It's an adventure.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It would be an adventure.
it would
for
be
sure.
a real adventure.
I've got bugs laying
Yeah,
stuff in
that's
my
a-
hair.
Yeah, exactly. Your ankles swollen.
Yeah, for
I've
some
got-
reason.
I got bit by a tiny ant and I can't walk,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to get that fish.
Yeah.
The Dorado's calling my name.
Yeah.
I love it. Dorado's, I think
Hard
like a lot of people.
Why
are feeling
not?
that
Like,
one.
there's so many good answers, but like that would be not only
Oh,
just
100%.
the fishing, right?
Yeah.
It would be
Yeah.
like a real adventure.
Epic
It's an
adventure.
experience for sure.
I know yours. I know yours.
Yeah.
Jay, what's yours, man? What would you do?
I Northern Quebec. It's where I want to
Going
go.
to Quebec.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I want to get up there, out,
Yeah.
like just like head north and get,
North Shore type of stuff.
I guess I didn't know his.
yeah. Well, because it's also just like it's what I've been thinking about so much because it's what is next on the list.
Yeah, we're.
You know, like I'm very much like focused on like this is the next like big fish for us.
I thought
is,
you were going Aurora.
I mean, yeah. It is.
Yeah.
That's-
Aurora's great.
I thought
We
he
tried.
was obsessed with. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
tried.
I know.
No success.
Talking like Aurora trout.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Northern Ontario. Yeah, hell yeah.
I
I mean, that's
so-
definitely one we can make.
Yeah, that's another one that I really want to do. I have a hike in lake,
Okay.
and it's kind of not. It's kind of like because I think there's only like 10 lakes or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Pretty low
it's
number.
like definitely like number 10, and nobody really goes to that one because
Okay.
it's a hike in.
Yeah.
But I got it. Because I was doing a bunch of research and I was like, this is the one we have to go to. This is gonna be the hardest to get at. We're not gonna run into anybody because you gotta hike
Yeah.
right into this sucker. But
That's a good idea.
let's chat about that because
Yeah.
definitely
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We've done it, and it was pretty ruthless because I mean, we didn't
Ruthless.
A, really know what we were doing. It was still water fishing, and B, we went to a lake that everybody goes to. So you know,
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
it was man. We tried. I'll tell you that
We
right now.
definitely
But
tried.
I know the fish were probably like 60 feet down that time of year. Like,
Yep.
we didn't plan it out.
Story
Really.
of
Yeah.
Ontario.
We'll
man.
plan it out. I'll pull up the info I have on that lake, and it's like
Yeah.
driving down like and dead end roads and out in the middle of
Sick.
nowhere. It'll
Be
be
fun.
a trip. Yeah.
Northern Quebec, though, man, I can appreciate that. I kind of feel,
Yeah.
I feel you. Like
Yeah.
Dorado and Northern Quebec are probably the two places I want to go next to.
Yeah.
Well, just like watching the videos that like was it like Hook? They did a whole
Hook,
bunch.
yeah.
They did a bunch of videos of Northern Quebec. After I saw that, I was like, that I've got to do that.
It's something
I
else,
want
right?
that so
That's something
badly.
else. Oh, that
Yeah.
sucks.
So beautiful,
It just
like
like
that
it
place.
feels like the essence of like rugged Canada.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Rugged, yet like there's some kind of refined.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
You're-
Yeah.
To the
European
aura,
Canada,
you know?
man.
Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's just something.
100%.
It reminds me, like when I think of like Quebec in general, I just think of that episode of with Andy Bourdain and McMillan and the other Joe Beef guy in that ice hut, just eating like cheese,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and drinking like
Wine
the craziest
and-
wine in a
yeah.
We're gonna be
shitty
there,
ice
We're
hut.
gonna be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Are
true.
you? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They're
We're-
going.
Old Port dining, maybe going to a Habs game tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Love
That's
that.
awesome. Sick, man. Okay, number 3. Ryan, we'll start with you. What is your best favorite fishing memory? one of your best or favorite
Well,
memories fishing.
being a kid, getting taken to, some southern Ontario lake, wanting to catch a fish so bad, and my mom being the best fisherman that we have.
Yeah.
Patient, doesn't do a thing, right on the bottom, tapping a worm, catches a hog. I thought I hated her.
Yeah.
I was so mad. I was so mad. How the did you get that fish, man?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Or like literally maybe 2 days later, same lake trip. My brother is kind of like a whimsical, artsy guy. He's an amazing craft cocktail bartender, and he didn't have the attention to fish at the time. He comes now, but he sets up a 6 shore lunch for the boys and like just likes having a good day. Doesn't fish much.
Yeah.
So his rod is just down in between the dock. Like his line is in between the wood slats and the dock. Catches maybe a 3-pounder.
Jesus.
Oh
And
God,
here I am just like
through the slats.
tying my knots, doing everything, learning like me, 12 years old, trying super hard.
Yeah.
And here they are not doing much.
Yeah.
Not even trying.
Not even trying. The fit.
That's fishing,
That's
man.
fit-
That's
yeah.
how it goes.
They feel
No.
the bass feel your
100%.
intensity. They're like, fuck, this guy's trying too hard.
Yeah. For sure.
100%. Or if you try too hard, you get knots. Sometimes
Yeah.
you gotta
Yeah.
sit back and just enjoy where you are and be patient
Just
with your
chill.
fishing.
Yeah.
It's a good lesson.
100%. It's good. It's a good lesson.
100%.
Jay, how about you? Best fishing memory, favorite fishing memory?
I caught a catfish through a beer can.
What? Through a beer can?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, what was the?
We were at Christie Lake Conservation, which is like
Oh, yeah.
Clapperson's Corner. So Highway 6 in Dundas.
Mhm.
There's a little
Okay.
conservation area in there.
Yeah.
We used to go as kids. Our parents would take us, and they had a couple swimming holes and then a couple stock trout ponds, and then
Yeah.
also a big lake.
Yeah,
So
and
we
we
went
were
out
like, yeah, we
there
were down near the end,
long
and we're
time,
just
5
like,
years, maybe.
5 years ago or something like that, and we're just
Yeah.
like casting spoons, just like having a day, drinking some beers, enjoying the sun, and I hook on, and I start pulling it in, and then
You
I was
thought
like,
it was
I was
beast.
like, this is a monster. So I pull it out, and the first thing that comes out of the water is the beer can attached to my line. I was like, Rye's like, oh, you just caught a thing. But then the beer can starts moving. I was like, no, I hooked onto something.
Yeah.
Then you pull the fish out underneath the beer can, and we were just
shit.
like, I don't know how this happened, but that.
And
What?
a pile of muck. And,
Yeah,
you
it
know.
was just like
Yeah.
some kind of black magic that happened that day. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I feel like catfish.
I caught a catfish.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But that could
You
could
like-
only happen with a catfish.
Yep.
Yeah,
feel like-
totally.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You don't like catfish, Sheldon? Is that what you just said?
No, that's not what I said.
Oh,
I said
thought
that-
you said you
Would
didn't
you
like
guys stink fist? Would you guys do it? Like go down, put the
Like
hand in the
the
hole?
The
noodling?
noodle?
Yeah, noodle.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I think Aldo did it. I forget where he was, but yeah, he's done it. I would do it.
No, I wouldn't do it. Nope.
I'm in
No.
Camp Mitch.
How hungry? how hungry?
You know, we have fishing rods, right? Like, what the hell are we doing?
If
boys?
this was
Like,
Walking Dead season 3, I'd be fucking knee deep in catfish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd be noodling.
Yeah.
We'd be
We'd be
noodling.
noodling.
Yeah, fair enough, if we have to.
What's the
Yeah.
context? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the context exactly? Yeah.
I'm not eating vegetables.
No. I love that. I caught a catfish through a beer can. It sounds like a George Strait song or something.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
It's a
honestly,
good-
it does.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, number 4, Ryan. Why do you fly fish? What do you get out of fly fishing? Why do you keep going back out?
I would say if you kind of, without sounding a little bit too, fly fishy.
Yeah.
Just, to me, it's just kind of tiers of fishing, and fly fishing's at the top. As far as craftsmanship, patience, and attention to detail, all the variables. To
Yeah.
me personally, the way I see it is, if you can catch a fish on your own tackle, that's the pinnacle of fishing to me.
Mhm.
You can go troll Lake Ontario if you got $5,000. You buy a boat and get your downriggers. If you can't catch fish, all the electronics, all that stuff, right? That's one thing. But
Yeah.
going out into the river alone, in the quiet, with something that you tied yourself is something else, and that's what I
Yeah.
like.
I love that.
Yeah, it's like fishing's got different like levels of fun.
For me,
fly
anyway.
fishing.
Well,
like,
and
Everyone's got their own,
It
but
kind
that's
of goes
my
back to what we're talking about, like why we're makers and the idea of starting
Yeah.
something from the beginning to the end, seeing something through
Yeah,
that,
there
from
you go.
tying your
Yep.
flies to like
Right.
you built
You gotta
some of your
think
rods.
about it and
you
plan
assembled
it.
some
You
of
got-
your rods.
I build
all
my
those
own
things.
leaders,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't buy
Yeah.
I don't buy packaged leaders. I tie them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, yeah.
So with
Yeah.
that,
Prep,
it's-
preparing.
Yeah.
You know, like
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
all of the layers that really go into it. You know.
Yeah.
100%.
Totally. Yeah, you can really go deep on the fly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yep.
Jay, how about you?
For me, I think it was like I was always a super like I want to do everything kind of kid, and that
Yeah.
just like kind of went on into adulthood. So like, never had a lot of patience for sitting around in a boat and just like watching my bobber. I'm just like I'm
Yeah.
not that guy. I like
Yeah.
I like being active in whatever I'm
Yeah.
doing and keeping myself active in whatever I'm doing.
You're a hunter.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
fly
yeah,
fishing was just like it's
Keeps you
perfection.
engaged,
It
right?
keeps me engaged the entire time.
Yeah.
It allows me like also just the calming nature of being out there, hearing the river flowing, and being able to like learn how to read a river and look for those pockets. And when
Mhm.
you like, and I'm new to fly fishing. Like I'm just starting out, and so like it's that first time that like I just like soar my fly under that branch and it hits that perfect little
yeah.
run where it shoots right
Yeah, the
across.
satisfaction.
Like those
Are
moments.
you sure
like,
you're a
I'm
beginner?
able-
Because that's not a beginner movement. That's some skillful shit.
Master ninja
But
skills.
Yeah.
it's one of those things. Well, I mean, it's even just the act of casting is something I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with. Like
Yeah.
I learned how to cast from. He was like one of the youngest certified fly fishing teachers in Canada.
Whistler Fly Shop.
Yeah, so he worked at Whistler Fly Shop, and he was in
Oh,
my
nice.
residence when I was in school. And we used
Yeah.
to go out and drink beer out in the field, and he would set up a hoop, and we'd just have a weight. We'd just sit there with, and just like cast and see who could hit the hoop.
Mm.
And like
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like,
That's cool.
and he was the first guy that really was into fly fishing, and we didn't really go much. We were just like at school, but we go and cast and stuff out in fields. But it's just like there's something about the rhythm of casting, and still to this day, like I live at like Dundas and Ossington. I go
Yeah.
to Old Orchard and just cast at night. Tie up a piece of yarn, and I'll just sit there, put on the headphones, listen to some music, and just cast. I
Yeah.
cast all day,
Yeah, you
man.
guys are
There's
city boys.
I love
Yeah.
casting.
You know how
so
hard it
much.
is to just get out sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
You
totally.
can't just sometimes on Wednesday after work, or
No.
sometimes you just can't get out. The city.
Just go to the park, practice casting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
there's just
I
something
love that.
so enjoyable about it.
Oh,
Yeah, there's
yeah.
a
Yeah,
rhythm
fly
to it,
fishing
and
is.
like learning that rhythm and starting to fall into that. And there's rhythm of rivers, and I think it comes from
Yeah.
being like a musician in that aspect.
Yeah, that's what
Like,
I
you had
always
to-
say. That's what I always say. I say that's the reason why, if you, Mitch and Aldo, like it's like a pendulum, you know, and they're just, you know, it's that rhythm.
Yeah,
You know how long it took me to learn?
It's very. Oh no, you were casting right away. Come
Nah,
on,
I got no rhythm.
you got the skills, baby.
My parents
It's
are
a very
so unhappy.
engaging thing, fly fishing. I feel you.
do you ever
I
listen to
feel ya.
music while you cast?
No, I don't.
Do you guys do that?
No.
Maybe you should try it.
He does.
I do.
Yeah, it's a
He,
it dials
does
you in.
music. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah,
I can't
I'll
do
do
it, yeah.
music while I'm out there, especially like warming up, beginning of the day.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
it's always to music and getting the flow and getting a rhythm in me. And then when I'm starting to like actively like get out into where I want to be fishing,
Mhm.
then the headphones come down. But the start of a
Nice.
morning when I first get out there,
Yeah, it pumps like the pump up track, you know, like.
wait, no, Bon Iver, man, I'm getting
Bon
sent
Iver.
out.
Send
That's
it
like
out,
saying-
yeah.
I'm just getting out there, just like it's I wish.
I can dig that.
Yeah.
I can
Just got pump up the jam going. I'm just smooth.
It's a good question. Like the whole music and fishing
Pump
thing.
up
I've
the
thought
jam,
about.
get at it.
I've thought about putting the headphones in
Yeah?
and fishing. You know, I've never done it,
Yeah.
but I should try.
Try
thought
it.
about
It's
it.
nice, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like scoring the day. You know, like you can just make a little playlist.
It
that
sets
scores,
it
you know?
sets the day.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of cool. Okay, number 5, Mitch's Fishies 5 is, and Jay, we'll start with you. If you were a fly pattern, what would you be? Like, what fly best represents you and why?
Oh, woolly bugger, man. See all
Nice,
this?
nice.
See all that?
Yeah,
I shaved like 2 days ago, bro.
yeah. The woolly bugger's good.
This
man.
man
I
is
feel
a
that.
woolly bugger.
Oh my god.
I love
Just
it.
by physical
I love it.
appearance, love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
strictly.
I love
Yeah.
that. What color woolly bugger? Like, we talking just
Ooh.
like pure black or like brown or what's going on?
Probably with a little bit of green in it. That's like,
A little
I
green?
think that's like one of my favorites. It
And
has
some
to be
flash.
that.
Dig it.
Yeah, a little bit
And
of flash.
some flash.
It's gotta have some.
Little flash.
You'll see.
Nice.
You'll see in real life if you come to the shop.
Yeah.
He's got some flash.
Yeah.
Done. I love it. Ryan, how about you? If you were a fly, what would you be?
Super tough, man. Horrible
Yeah.
question.
I know.
Okay, so I love a lot of flies.
Yeah.
And I think maybe a prince nymph.
Oh, right on.
Nice, man. Nice. You go for Princeton. Why?
Because he's a
Well-
brookie fisherman. Look
Well, that's part. I just think it's a beautiful fly.
the credit.
It's very versatile.
Yeah.
It's dependable.
It is.
Yeah.
It's attractive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You're not going to pull one out? Of course you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing.
100%.
It's a wonderful fly. And I've also had an RPG video game character called Prince Nymph that
Yeah.
I'm quite fond of.
That's
I
awesome.
love that.
What game? What game?
Diablo 2.
Oh,
Nice.
right
You had a
on.
Diablo 2 character named Prince
That's
Nymph.
funny.
That's wicked.
Ryan, I caught my first brookie ever in the upper credits
Yeah,
on a Prince
yeah.
Nymph.
Of course you did. Forks? Like,
Prince
Forks with the
Nymph's a
boys.
great one.
What else do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caught my
it's a great
first
one.
brookie. Also caught my face for the first time with one of those.
With the Prince.
Oh,
Boom. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I also, speaking of Kijiji finds and not just, buying the best gear in the world, I was fortunate enough to just find an old timer retiring, and I bought a
Yeah.
box of dries for a fair price,
Yeah.
under store value, and I don't know half of what they are. But I'll show
Yeah.
you boys at the event night. I'll show you this box. It's a
Yeah.
work of art.
Oh man, I can't wait to see him. That's such a cool.
Yeah, well,
What a cool find,
We
eh?
fish, we fish them all the time.
Yeah, we'll pull out a
Yeah.
bunch of the stuff that my best friend's dad from high school tied for us, and a bunch of
Yeah.
of weird stuff that we've gathered
Yeah.
over the years.
Yeah, for sure.
That box. Where did you find? Where was the guy that owned
Southern
that box
Ontario.
from?
Southern Ontario.
Okay, so those flies.
Oh yeah, yeah.
might be good local.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Wait till you see them. They're sweet.
Sick. Dries, you said?
Yeah, all
dries.
dries.
Yeah.
Full double panel, old green tall box.
Cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
I mean, it's fall now. I'm thinking already about trout and those, spring nights on
Oh
the
my
on the
God.
rivers.
Yeah.
that we
You haven't
love,
even,
dry
Caught a
nights. So.
steelhead yet.
I saw my dry box the other night and I was like, "Fuck fall, stupid
Yeah.
man. Get the shit out of here, man!" Like, I don't
No,
give
we
a
gotta
fuck
get
about
out.
steelhead.
Though. We already talked about it. We got to get steelhead.
Yeah, we definitely would.
We gotta
definitely
get
would,
out.
for sure.
Yeah.
We're getting rain, we're getting some snow, all that stuff. So we'll
Yeah.
definitely hit the waters, fellas.
It's
But
happening.
before the event, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, thanks so much for coming on. And before we kind of part ways, where can people find you guys? What can people do if they want a hat? Like, what's the deal?
So we're really excited. In the spring, we're going to be opening up a full brick and mortar. We're at 1 Golden Avenue. It's Dundas and Roncesvalles area. And you can get us at coupdetet.ca or at Instagram coup_de_tet. You can find us through there, and we're linked up with the guys with the event and stuff like that. And you can find us there.
And you can find us here,
yeah, you
December
can find us here.
16th.
Yeah, absolutely. Hanging out with the boys and doing some
Come drink some-
getting fishy.
Tasty
Glenfiddich.
15-year-old
Yeah.
Hell
aged
yeah. Hell
scotch
yeah.
with the boys. I think there's going to be a cootie board.
Yeah, there is indeed. Yeah, we'll put the
We'll
links to
have
all
some-
that
we'll
stuff
have
in the
some fun, man.
I love the
in the
Johnny.
show notes, and we'll have a great.
Sorry, Mitch. I just want to say something. I love
What?
the Johnny
Please.
Cash story that you put on. I'm looking at it.
Oh
now.
yeah,
That's
that
sick.
was a new thing.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're just starting to. We're releasing. We just released that today. We usually do one of ones, but
Yeah.
with this hat, we were so stoked on it. We're we're just gonna release a bunch of this hat and kind of
Yeah.
give people, because often they're like, "Hey, I love this hat, but it's not my size." So this one you can kind of get in your size, and so we're trying that out.
Sick.
And yeah, we're really stoked to be opening up a brick and mortar and having a hat shop in a local spot where people can come and hang out.
And it's all gonna be at 1 Golden. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a 3-bay garage
That's so
that
cool.
we're converting into the space, and for the people who come into this event, and I'm sure we're gonna do more events in the future. I've got lots of ideas for different fishy things that we can make over the years.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's we're really excited, and like I also wanted to say thanks to you guys because
Big shout out.
when
so far.
I got into fishing, like fly
Yeah.
fishing, it was listening to this podcast and like hearing the people that you guys were meeting, and also like Yoma, you going through your experience of starting out and stuff, where I was also like with an experienced fisherman and stuff, and as you were learning, I was learning. It was awesome, man. And so like you guys
Oh, that's
really
so
Yes,
sick.
awesome.
really inspired
Appreciate that.
me and got me really into especially Ontario fishing, because like I knew BC, I had no idea out here, and so like you guys got me stoked on Ontario and like
Ugh.
fly fishing in Ontario.
Yeah,
Amazing.
and
Dude, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
it makes you
Shout
feel
out.
great. Thanks.
community building, and shout out credit funding,
Jeez.
and
Yeah.
shout
Yeah,
out SoFly
jeez Louise,
parties.
Yeah,
You know, like
absolutely.
there's a lot of layers to this, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah,
getting
it's-
together and
fellas.
meeting all these people and just chatting and doing it, like
Hell yeah.
who has
No,
that?
that's
not a lot of people.
Not a lot
that
of
I
people.
know.
No.
Not a
No,
lot of
no,
so
no.
We're building a cool community in Toronto. We're just glad.
yes, we are.
A little slice or a little fly in your box. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh no, I can't wait to do the first event, guys, because it's it's really cool to meet you, and thank you for the kind words,
Yeah,
because like
thank you so much.
that's exactly what we're trying to do. Remember, Yelma, you were like, I'm the new guy. People,
Yeah,
will, you
that's
know,
ex-
like that's
yeah.
exactly.
People
it.
can relate.
Rest in peace, Gabe.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
awesome to hear that. Thank you
I
guys.
appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Well, yeah, no, it's been a blast chatting, and like we'll do more shows next time. We'll do one in person, maybe on the river or something. You know.
We're,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
getting on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll
after
go
I
fish.
rope into a steelhead, we'll have to,
Yes.
we'll have to get some audio of me just like screaming.
Fuck yeah, we will. Yeah, let's go. Let's
Yeah.
do some steelheading before the event, and then we'll have some fish stories to talk about at the event.
There you
But
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, thanks for coming on, guys, and we'll
Our
put all
pleasure.
all the stuff in
Our
the show
pleasure.
notes.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Take care, fellas.